I'm Jessica Chobot, and you're here for a giant robot-sized slice of behind the scenes from the guys at Sneaky Zebra. Winston School Legacy Effects, Pwnisher, Jimmy Wong, Screen Team, Mars Rising, and our very own Chris Hardwick. What do they all have in common? This mechanical menace right here.
So, back at San Diego Comic-Con, we met the guys from Winston School and Legacy Effects
with their really amazing, awesome giant robot thing.
And we filmed it for our cosplay video, and afterwards we thought, is there something else we can do with this robot?
And they said, hey, we have a movie idea for that robot, let's do it. And they came down here, they brought a bunch of YouTube stars.
When somebody travels, especially travels this far, to collaborate, and they ask you, you just say yes, you know? When one of us needs help, we're there.
Now we're back in LA.
We had Winston School and Legacy Effects. We had the YouTubers. And then
Gary hits me with this script, 8 pages of this awesome script,
which Matt Winston said was impossible to film. And you know what? Matt was partly right, but we did it anyway. Because things.
So on the big day, we got up stupidly early and we drove up to New Deal Studios,
who had put on the location for us to use, this fantastic soundstage. We went around, we mapped everything out as detailed as we could.
It was actually a really well thought out shoot. I thought Nick and Gary had it together. There wasn't that much time to bring in all these people. Everyone was on a tight schedule.
Of course, the biggest thing that we had never worked with before is a giant robot. I mean, who has worked with a giant robot?
My good friend today, I don't know what his name is, but I know that he's a very beautiful piece of work.
The robot was so realistic. It was hard to believe that there's just a guy in there controlling the robot, because it's like,
the poor
scared.
guy. Yeah. I was scared for him. No, it's not really. I'm sure it was all safe and everything, but that suit, I don't know how much it weighed, but they have to have a crane with chains and everything to hold him up during rest.
Top half, I think, weighs 90 pounds with batteries, and then each of the boots are about 30 pounds. They're on stilts. It's a lot to balance and keep from tipping forward. It's a challenge. It is fun to wear because people's reactions to it are pretty genuine.
I was honestly scared of the robot.
You were afraid of it.
I was afraid of it.
It's actually really tall. It's really intimidating. When it's like pointing guns at you, man, that's rough.
Now, the biggest problem with the robot is we can't keep Bruce the operator in the thing for too long, because at the end of the day, we don't want to kill Bruce.
We didn't kill Bruce.
And we didn't kill Bruce. That's an important lesson. We did not kill Bruce.
And because we didn't want to kill Bruce, we only had a limited amount of time we could actually film him in the whole suit. Now this is where a little bit of camera trickery comes in.
Most of the time he'd just be wearing the top half of the robot. But what that enabled us to do is we would shoot low down looking up at him, and because you have no idea of the scale of the building, it kind of looks like he's wearing the full suit.
Of course, Bruce just wearing the top half of it does look a little bit ridiculous, which is the main point. Never skip leg day. Early on in the film, we actually show you a side-by-side shot of the robot against Clint. Now the great thing of this is you've then got a reference scale. You know roughly how human-sized Clint is going to be compared to the big massive robot.
And then of course we filmed just the legs, and on a few occasions we filmed the full robot, and hopefully you never questioned that Bruce was not the full robot the entire time.
And in addition to Bruce, you've also got 2 guys controlling the suit. One of the guys is looking after the lights. You've also got the head, which is completely animatronic, which adds another great range to the robot suit itself. We worked very closely with both those guys whilst we were filming so that they could coordinate with Bruce the actual performance of the whole robot.
And we didn't kill Bruce. So with a shoot with this many people involved, obviously the scheduling is going to be completely out of sync with what the end result was.
We weren't all there together. We all had to shoot it piecemeal because everyone had really busy schedules. Tom and I were headed out that night up to the mountains nearby to shoot our Zelda video.
The main idea of the script was to take everybody's kind of popular videos and emulate them. So with Clint we had cardboard warfare, so we built Clint a turret.
Now one of the great things working with Clint was his absolute energy and his absolute excitement about being on set. We'd never worked with him before, so we weren't quite sure what to expect, but he really did throw himself into the role. I mean, quite literally. When we wrote it in the script, his fallback was actually meant to be a little stumble, and he really threw himself into it.
Good falls. Yes, man.
Went to stunt school.
Stunt school. Winston School of Stunts.
With Jimmy, we had the remote control car because of his drifting in VGHS, Season 3, out now, watch it.
It was great actually seeing you guys recreate the Accordion Hero stuff that we did.
My name's Chad and I played Ash.
And I play Pikachu.
Pikachu! You were a tough Pikachu.
Yeah, like a biker Pikachu.
That's exactly it. You had the leather on. I like that version of Pikachu.
Do you?
Yeah, very cool.
And then, of course, there is us. We decided that we would emulate Prop Wars, one of our favourite videos we've ever made. So after we'd done everybody's footage, we'd filmed everything with Bruce.
And we were just starting to pack up. Except we forgot one thing.
We hadn't filmed ourselves. We had filmed pretty much nothing of us.
Luckily, Cody was still around. He was the guy doing our behind the scenes, and he jumped on the camera for us.
Although I should make one note. Thank you very much to the guys at Indie Machines for lending us the microphone we used, and for lending us the Thor's hammer that almost destroyed my arm because it was made of concrete.
My gun was easy to hold.
Yeah, my hammer was not easy to hold. Concrete. Justin Eric, concrete. Who makes a hammer out of concrete? I could have killed Bruce with that hammer if I wasn't careful, but I didn't.
Picked him up.
Because he wasn't worthy. So it is now 6 in the evening. We have just wrapped completely on the video.
So we're back at home, we're back in London. It's cold, it's wet, it's rainy, it's not LA, but we'd actually started working on the assembly cut. I say we, I mean Gary, you guys probably know, does pretty much 99.99% of all the post-production work on this.
So I bring everything into Avid, I transcode it to DNX HD, and I start pulling together an assembly cut of this epic robot video. And I get an assembly cut together, and I phone up Nick, and I say, we have a serious problem.
We did.
We had a very big problem.
What kind of problem?
The fact that it didn't actually work.
We kind of have a beginning, we have a middle, and we have bits of an end. We had failed to get some of the footage that we needed. Where we'd moved the schedule around, we'd missed some crucial stuff. But not to worry, because we had accidentally created the solution to our problem.
Who are you calling? Hey, Stan Winston School Legacy Effects.
Never fear, Hardwick is here. That's right, Chris Hardwick was the solution to our problem.
Chris Hardwick's so handsome.
Out in the elements.
Now the great thing is that we hadn't filmed with him yet, and we were able to create some extra dialogue that filled in the missing gaps that we needed to tell you guys the exposition.
Now we had written Chris in to be on the iPad the whole way through the video. Well, not the whole way through the video. He was in the intro, and then the end of the video is pretty much what was scripted, where Chris has his little, oh wait, I'm not actually there. What wasn't in the script was Chris telling everybody what to do. That was originally going to be us and Clint and Jimmy. We kind of accidentally forgot to film that part. So we scripted everything. We went along to the At Midnight studios. At Midnight, Comedy Central. Check it out. Obviously, it's on at midnight. You know what? If we were doing this properly, like there'd be like a little thing with like Chris going like that, adjusting his tie. I'm kind of glad that we messed up, because we actually got something a bit more fun than what was in the script. Granted, less YouTubers in it, but more Chris Hardwick, and everybody loves some Chris Hardwick. And if you love Chris Hardwick, At Midnight, Comedy Central. Whilst we were in LA filming with Chris, we also figured we'd try and fill in a couple of other missing shots we kind of had a bit of a problem with, was Jimmy's toy car.
Now this car was an absolute nightmare to film, and mainly because it wouldn't go in a straight line. I think Jimmy got it in a straight line maybe once, twice. We failed miserably at doing it, and it was very unpredictable to film with. So the footage we got was absolutely rubbish.
In the original version of the video, we had a fully CGI car, which it looked okay, but it could look better. But luckily,
when we were back in LA, we found the same car, and we thought, well, let's actually spend some time making some nice shots out of it.
We also had to get some extra footage from the guys at Screen Team, and that was Chad coming out of the Pokeball. We didn't film that on the day. Luckily, they have a great green screen setup, so they were happy enough to film the extra shots of Chad coming out and punching the robots separately and then send them to us.
So now comes the VFX part, which is mainly down to Gary. So I'm going to go and sit down for 5 minutes.
Obviously, you've watched the video, so you've seen there are a huge amount of visual effects in this, and a lot of effects I had no idea how to do, so I had to learn to do a whole bunch of new stuff just for this video. And, you know, there's a variety of stuff from screen replacements to, you know, the turret burning up. I hadn't done an effect like that, and luckily, Clint is a master of stunts and did his own stunt, which really sells the shit out of that. We had some fully CGI shots in this one here.
Sneaky Zebra's up in their visual effects status.
Mainly the Pokeball sequence had 2 fully CGI shots of the Pokeball catching Chad and it dropping to the floor and ceiling. So I, in Cinema 4D, modelled a Pokeball that could open and close. I kind of got to give it my own little style, so hopefully you Pokemon fans like what I did. Once I had animated it, rigged it all up in Cinema 4D. I exported it all out, brought it into After Effects, made some matte paintings using some reference pictures we got a few days before of the location. I had a digital floor, and I kind of played around and tried to come up with some really interesting ways of compositing this together to try and make it look as realistic as I could. I have never done any CGI on this scale before. Dude.
Oh, nice!
The other big CGI segment that we kind of had was kind of a mix between the live action CGI was Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. That was something that I kind of had wanted to do since we did Prop Wars, was just to try and take the stuff I did there and just bring it up to a whole new level. And I had this really cool idea in my head, and it took a few takes and explaining to Nick exactly what I wanted in the footage, and at the time I didn't really know how I was going to pull it off. I just knew I wanted to have this hammer come at screen, freeze, and then spin back, and it would just be a really, really cool sequence. I took the footage into Buju, 3D tracked it, brought it back into Cinema 4D. I had previously made a hammer for Prop Wars. It was not detailed enough, so I had to make a whole new hammer. One of the other things that I kind of wanted to do is, whilst it spins, the strap was just a solid 3D model. I wanted it to move like fabric so that it would hit wind and resistance. So I had to kind of learn a whole new way of doing that. Once I had all that, I rendered that out, brought it into After Effects, and began the process of adding motion blur and compositing everything together. It was one of the longest shots to render. I think it's really, really cool, and that is not just me feeding my ego. We also had a lot of lightning effects in there. There was obviously going to be Angie's sequence where she shoots thunder at the robot, and there was the bit where I shoot Thor's hammer at the robot. And I kind of wanted to replicate the old school 70s to kind of 90s feel of whenever something got hit by electricity, it would run across all the areas of it, like whenever R2-D2 got shot by the Jawas. So I had to come up with a clever way of pulling that off, and it took a little bit of tinkering to come up with, but I'm really pleased with the end result. I think it kind of looks like an old school optical effect. Of course, we have a couple of slightly more subtle effects that kind of throw in, like the Terminator vision. So whenever you see the robot's vision, that is a reference to Terminator 2.
Oh, credit sequence? Sweet.
Because Legacy Effects make the Iron Man suits, we thought it would be a real fun idea to have an Iron Man inspired credit sequence.
Really cool.
It's just like the Marvel comic.
Yeah.
So once I'd done all the visual effects, I brought them back into Avid, cut them in, and then became the mammoth task of sound design. So now I had to come up with how all these things sound. And that is a huge amount of fun. If you've never done sound design, it is a blast. I had a great time. I put in a few Easter eggs here or there.
One of the things I really recommend you guys do, if you can, listen and watch this video on a decent sound system or something with some nice headphones or something where you can really enjoy the sound. There is a lot hidden within the sound design. For example, when Thor's hammer flies right at the screen, we actually acquired Kat Denning's meow meow and very carefully hid it underneath. There's also a Pikachu sound when Angie does a special, well, she does it better than me.
Of course, sound design is always helped and even bettered by awesome music. And that is where Mr. Benjamin Squires comes in.
Ben is absolutely amazing. And we asked him to emulate everything visually into the actual score.
So that whenever we got to Clint had this kind of action hero theme.
So where you see Pokemon, you get the Pokemon theme.
Then we had the Thor cue and the Star Trek one. And then we kind of had a kind of Fast and Furious type bit for Jimmy's thing. Ben did an amazing job. And we had kind of a, if you've worked with a composer before, it's kind of a really engaging experience going back and forth. So I would record an audio voice message back to him with notes where I would like hum music, which I think after a while Ben wanted to kill me, but it turned out kind of helpful. Now we have the music, we have the sound design. The one thing missing, the robot doesn't have its own voice.
Gary had done a temp one.
It was amazing.
It wasn't amazing.
Oh, it was badass.
It was better than what I tried.
Come back here and I'll shut you down.
So we reached out to our friend Mark Meer. You might know him from our Commanding Voice video. You might know him better as Commander Shepard from Mass Effect. And basically we sent him the video and he instantly came up with a voice which was just perfect in our eyes.
So we Skype called in to a recording studio in Canada and we were on the call with Mark whilst he was recording this voice, so we could give notes back and forth on his performance, how to play lines, and kind of just getting the rough timings right. And when we got the voice back, we cut it in and this robot just came to life. It was amazing. The robot was now a fully fleshed out character. We have we have the sound design, we have all of us, we have all these effects, this great music.
And now we're really excited. We have a completed film and we thought, what's best? Well, let's show everybody who was in the video.
But why?
But why? Mainly because most of them hadn't actually been on set at the same time, nobody had filmed with each other, but also nobody had seen it at this point. And there's a lot of things that had changed from what we wrote on the script to the complete project.
So we just watched the video and we absolutely loved it. There were so many awesome parts in it, but I have to say, I love Mars Rising with the accordion.
Had to be the Thor's hammer.
I absolutely loved Clint's performance.
Love Clint.
And for me, the best bit is the kind of John Woo-esque style double launcher. The slow-mo yell, perfect. It cracks me up every time.
We needed doves.
We needed doves.
For me, it's the accordion.
I think my favourite part of the whole video is whenever Thor's hammer hits it. No, I'm not going to be that egotistical. I think
you are.
But I'm not that egotistical. I was just joking there, and he's going to rub this in. My favourite part, I think, is right at the end, is whenever Chad comes out the Pokeball and flies up and punches the robot. And not only just because it's really amusing, is because when I got the footage, there is a little kind of blooper outtake.
Oh, sexy pose?
There we go.
Maybe I'll just come flying through like this.
And I'm really sorry, Chad.
Chris Hardwick is in there.
Of course, yeah.
And he just kills it. He's extra funny.
Oh, yeah.
I just was really cracking up with him. So I thought it was cool that he mentioned our name.
I know. We were really excited that Chris Hardwick says, "Screen team, finish him."
Probably one of the coolest things, and just totally hit my joy button, was Chris Hardwick said, "Mars Rising," played that music, and I was like, he just said Mars Rising. And just to have that happen, you know, somebody as big as Chris Hardwick, just totally blew my mind.
We're very happy for you, but we're also very sad because you're all putting us old guys out of work, you young whippersnapper, effects-mad filmmakers.
I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. We put a lot of work into it. It was like an 8-hour shoot and then like 8 months of post-production work and pickup shots and lots of scheduling and stuff. It's a real big video, but obviously it wasn't just us who worked on it. We had a lot of really great people. Big thanks to Stan Winston School Legacy Effects for the robot, New Deal for providing us such an awesome space to film in, Nerdist because they gave us food, they fed us, they helped Bruce live by feeding him. Bruce is alive. Bruce is alive thanks to you, Nerdist, and your food. Everybody involved on any level, thank you so much for helping us with this insane video about a group of YouTubers trying to battle a robot.
And of course, a huge thank you to you guys for any likes, any comments. It really does mean the world to us because at the end of the day, we made these videos for you guys to watch.
Best robot movie ever.
Come on, right?
Can't wait for the sequel.
So guys and girls, hope you enjoyed watching Sneaky Zebra and Company Saving the World. Make sure you like and subscribe. Don't forget to tweet them at @the_Sneaky Zebra. I've been Jessica Chobot, and I'll be back.